In this video, what we are going to look on is simplifying expressions. And the questions that are we going to focus on in this video are from past paper, CXC past paper questions. Okay? The first one, simplify x minus 3 divided by 3 minus x minus 2 all divided by 5. So we have x minus 3 over 3 minus x minus 2 all over 5. What you can do is to find a common denominator, right? And one easy way to find a common denominator is to multiply the two denominators here. So we can say that 5 threes is 15. But I'm going to write 15 as a product of 3 times 5. So this is going to be 3 times 5. Right? So 3 into 3 times 5, 3 will cancel out 3. I left back with 5. So I'm going to take this 5 to multiply my numerator. So it's going to be 5 times all of my numerator, which is x minus 3, minus 5 into 3 times 5. 5 will cancel out 5, leaving back with 3. I'm going to take this 3 to multiply all of my numerator. So it's going to be 3 times x minus 2. Right? What I'm going to do now is to distribute this 5 to each term inside of the bracket. So I'm going to use the 5 to multiply the first term and then use the 5 to multiply the second term. So 5 times x, that leaves me with 5x. 5 times minus 3, that leaves me with minus 15. Now on this part here, I am going to distribute this negative 3 to each of the term here. So I'm going to take negative 3 to multiply the first term, and I'm going to take negative 3 to multiply the second term. So negative 3 times x gives me minus 3x. Negative 3 times negative 2 gives me positive 6. All over 3 times 5, which is 15. Right? So now, what I'm going to do, I am going to group all the like terms. So I'm going to rearrange this and group the term with x beside each other and the constants beside each other. So it's going to be 5x. Move all of this with it, the sign in front of it. So it's going to be minus 3x minus 15 plus 6. All of that over 15. 5x minus 3x, that leaves me with 2x. When you have a negative and a positive, you are going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. The larger number here is 15, so we know that the sign here is going to be minus. Right? So negative 15 plus 6 going to give us minus 9. All over 15. And that's how you simplify a function that looks like this. Alright? Now to part B. A squared plus 4a all divided by a squared plus 3a minus 4. They want us to simplify this. So we know we have a squared plus 4a all divided by a squared plus 3a minus 4. Right? One approach that you can use is, if you look at the numerator, we have an a term here and we have another a term here, which means that a is common to both terms. So we can factor a out of the first term. So if we factor out a out of the numerator, we're going to have a, open bracket. We're going to use this a to divide each term in the numerator. So a squared divided by a leaves us with a. 4a divided by a leaves us with plus 4. All of that over the denominator. But the denominator here, a squared plus 3a minus 4, that is a quadratic equation. So what we are going to do, we are going to factor this quadratic equation. And when you factor a quadratic equation, we know that we're going to have two brackets or two factors multiplying each other. Now, one of the things that we know, since this is a square, we know that each bracket is going to have a in there. So this is going to be a, there's going to be an a here. Now, we know that AC is minus 4. We know that AC is equal to minus 4, right? Now, we want two factors of minus 4 that gives us positive 3. So if you have, you know, a factor of 4 is 2 times 2, and you have 1 times 4, or you have 4 times 1. So let's write 4 and 1, right? So we know that we need a negative 4. So we could put minus. So if we have 4 times negative 1, that gives us minus 4, right? And if we have 4 minus 1, that gives us positive 3. So the factors are going to be a plus 4 and a minus 1, right? So here, if you notice, we have a plus 4 in the numerator and a plus 4 in the denominator. So a plus 4 cancel out a plus 4. So all we left back with, our final answer is a all divided by a minus 1. Okay? Now you have 5p divided by 3q divided by 4p squared all over q. And they want us to combine this to a single fraction, or simplify. So what you're going to do, you're going to write back your first fraction, right, which is 5p over 3q. You're going to change the division sign to multiplication, and you're going to invert the last fraction. So this becomes q over 4p squared, right? Now at this stage we can cancel out. There's a 3q here and there's a 1q here. So that means q can cancel out q. There's p here and there's p squared here, and p squared means p times p. So this p can take out one of this p. Alright? So all we're left back with is now we left back with 5 on this side over 3 times 1 over 4p. There is nothing else that can be reduced, so what we are going to do is to multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So 5 times 1, that gives us 5. 3 times 4p, that gives us 12p. And that is our final answer there. Question 3. Expand and simplify 2k minus 3 times k minus 2. Now, you're just going to use the file method. So you're going to take the first term, distribute it to the first term here. Take the first term to distribute it to the second term. And take the second term to distribute to the first term. And take the second term to distribute to the last term here. But this might look confusing. So what does this mean? This simply means that you're going to take 2k, right, and multiply it by the second bracket, which is k minus 2. And you're going to take this minus 3 to multiply by the second bracket, which is k minus 2. K 2k times k, that's going to give us 2k squared. 2k times minus 2, that's going to give us minus 4k. Minus 3k, minus 3 times k, that's going to give us minus 3k. Minus 3 times minus 2, that's going to give us plus 6. So here, as you note, that minus 4k, minus 3k, those are like terms, which means that we can combine them, we can simplify them. So we're going to keep the first term, which is 2k squared, minus 4k minus 3k, that's minus 7k, plus this 6 here. And that is our final answer. So that is how you would simplify a question of this kind. Question 4, part A. Simplify p cubed q squared times pq to the fifth. So we know we have p cubed q squared multiplied by p q to the fifth, right? PQ here means multiply, so we can write this out to be p to the third power multiplied by q to the second power multiplied by p to the first power multiplied by q to the fifth power. Now we can go ahead and group the p's beside each other, so we can rewrite this to be p to the third power multiplied by p to the first power multiplied by q to the second power multiplied by q to the fifth power. Now in indices, once the base are the same, you just simply add the power. So here we have a base of p and a base of p. So these two bases are the same. So we can simply add the powers. So our final answer is going to be p, 3 plus 1, that gives us 4. So this is going to be p to the 4 times q. And we can write that without the multiplication sign. It's going to be q. So here q and q is the base, 2 and 5 is the power. Simply add the powers, so 5 plus 2, that's going to be 7. So our final answer is p to the 4, q to the 7. Part B. Express as a single fraction in its simplest form, a over 5 plus 3a over 2. So we have a divided by 5 plus 3a divided by 2. Now one way you can do this problem is to find a common denominator. Or what we can do is to use equivalent fractions to solve this. Now I want a common denominator here. So I'm going to write back the first fraction, which is a over 5, right? And then I'm going to multiply it by this denominator over here, which is 2. So I'm going to multiply it by 2 over 2. So I'm going to multiply it by 2 over 2, right? I'm going to use the same idea to put back my plus sign here. I'm going to write back this fraction, which is 3a over 2. And I'm going to multiply it by this denominator over itself, which is 5. So I'm going to multiply it by 5 over 5. Now 2 times a gives me 2a. 2 times 5 gives me 10. Plus 3a times 5, that gives me 15a. 2a times 5, that gives me 10. Now my denominator are the same. Here note that my denominator is 10 and here my denominator is 10. So when you add in fraction and they are from the same family or they have the same denominator, you keep the denominator. So I'm going to keep 10 and you simply add the numerator. So 2a plus 15a, that's going to give me 17a. And that is our final answer there. Question number 5. Write as a single fraction as simple as possible 2k over 3 plus 2 minus k over 5. So 2k over 3 plus 2 minus k all over 5. And they want us to simplify this in its simplest form, right? Again, find a common denominator. How can you find a common denominator? Multiply this denominator, which is 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, but I'm not going to write 15 just yet. I'm just going to write it as a product, which is 3 times 5. Alright? Now 3 into 3 times 5, 3 will cancel out each other, leaving back with 5. What am I going to do with this 5? I'm going to take this 5 to multiply this numerator. So it's going to be 5 times 2k. Alright? 5 into 3 times 5. 5 will cancel out 5, leave me back with 3. I'm going to take this 3 to multiply this numerator here. So it's going to be 3 times 2 minus k. Alright? So if you simplify this, 5 times 2k, that's 10k, plus 3, I'm going to take this plus 3 to multiply each term inside of the bracket. So plus 3 times positive 2, that gives me plus 6, plus 3 times minus k gives me minus 3k. All over 3 times 5, which is 15. This, now you can group the like term. You have a 10k and you have a minus 3k. So 10k minus 3k, that leaves you with 7k plus 6, all divided by 15. That's your final answer there. Alright? Now, number 6, expand and simplify. So we have 2x times x plus 5 minus 3 all times x minus 4. So we have 2x times x plus 5 minus 3 times x minus 4. Now what this means is that you're going to take this 2x to multiply each term inside of the bracket. And you're going to take this minus 3 to multiply each term inside of the bracket. Alright? So 2x times x, that gives us 2x squared. 2x times positive 5, that gives us positive 10x. Negative 3 times x, that gives us negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 4, that gives us positive 12. Remember that negative multiplied by negative results in a positive. Now here, if you notice, the middle term here are like terms, which means that we can combine the middle terms. So this is going to be, we keep our 2x squared, so this is going to be 2x squared, right? You have a plus 10x and a minus 3x. The signs are different. You're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So we know it's going to be positive. So it's going to be positive 10x minus 3x. That leaves us with positive 7x plus our 12. And that's it there. Right? Now, this one, number 7, simplify 3x squared times 4x cubed, all divided by 2x. So we have 3x squared times 4x cubed, all divided by 2x. So what you can do, you can combine the numerators first. So you're going to multiply 3 times 4, that gives you 12. Then you're going to multiply x squared times x cubed. What you're just going to do, you're going to write here x and just simply add the powers. So 2 plus 3, that gives you 5. So that's 12x to the 5th, all over 2x. Right? Here, you know that 2 can go into itself and 2 can also go into 12. So 2 into 2, that's 1. and 2 into 12, that gives you 6. So you know that our answer down here, that's going to be 6. This is x to the first power, and this is x to the fifth power. Once you're dividing two things with the same base, all you need to do is to subtract the powers. So in other words, this is 5 minus 1. So this is going to be 6x, and 5 minus 1, that's 4. So it's going to be 6x to the fourth power. And that's it. Let's look at our number 8. Write as a single fraction in its lowest term x plus 1 over 2 plus 5 minus x over 5. So we know we have x plus 1 over 2 plus 5 minus x all over 5. So again, find a common denominator. Common denominator, easy way, multiply the two denominators. So this is just 2 times 5, which is just 10. But I don't write out 10 because it makes the division much easier to see. So here, 2 into 2 times 5, 2 will cancel out, leave you back with 5. So you're going to take this 5 to multiply this numerator, so it's going to be 5 times all of the numerator in bracket, which is x plus 1 plus 5 into 2 times 5. 5 will cancel out 5, leave you back with 2. You're going to take this 2 to multiply all the numerator, so this is going to be 2 times all the numerator, which is 5 minus x. Now what we're going to do, we're going to expand and simplify, right? So if we expand this, we're going to take this 5 to multiply each term inside of the bracket, and also take this positive 2 to multiply each term inside of the bracket. So 5 times x, that gives us 5x. 5 times positive 1, that gives us positive 5. Positive 2 times positive 5, that gives us positive 10. Positive 2 times minus x, that gives us minus 2x. All over 2 times 5, that is 10. Right? Now here we have like terms. We have positive 5 and a positive 10. Those can combine to give one term. And we have 5x minus 2x. Those can combine to give us one term. So 5x minus 2x, that leaves us with 3x. Plus 5 plus 15. Sorry, plus 5 plus 10, that gives us plus 15. All of that over 10. And that's it in its simplest form. Question number 9. Given that x squared plus ax plus b is equal to x plus 2 all squared minus 3, work out the values of a and b. So we know that x squared plus ax plus b is equal to x plus 2 all squared minus 3. And they want us to find the value of a and b. So what you're going to do is to focus on this side. What you can do is to expand this side. So x plus 2 all squared mean x plus 2 times x plus 2 minus 3. Alright? Now, what you're going to do is to take the first term to multiply the first term in this bracket. Take the first term to multiply the second term. Take the second term to multiply the first term. And multiply both last term together. Alright? So x times x, that gives us x squared. X times positive 2, that gives us plus 2x. Positive 2 times x, that gives us plus 2x. Positive 2 times positive 2, that gives us plus 4. minus this 3 here. So we can simplify this. So if we simplify this, x squared positive 2x plus 2x, that gives us 4x. Positive 4 minus 3, that just gives us positive 1. Right? So here we can match up both equations. Here, if you match up both equations and you write them under each other, here would have x squared plus 4x plus 1. So in other words, here, from matching up both equations, since they are equal, it means that a is equal to 4, because you notice here, and b is equal to positive 1, so b is equal to positive 1. Alright? So that's how you would find a and b. Alright? Question number 10. Write as a single fraction. Part A, 2x plus 3 all over 3. So we know we want to write 2x plus 3 all over 3 plus x minus 4 all over 4. Again, you can simply find a common denominator, or you can take this denominator to multiply this fraction over itself. So we're going to multiply all of this. We're going to write back this fraction here, which is 2x plus 3 over 4 over 3, sorry. And we're going to multiply by this denominator over itself. So we're going to multiply all of this by 4 over 4. And we're going to use the same idea. Put back our plus sign, write back this fraction this time, which is x minus 4 over 4. And we're going to multiply all of this fraction by this denominator over itself, which is 3 over 3. Right? So, how do you multiply a fraction? You take this 4 to multiply each term inside of the bracket, right? So you're going to multiply, use this 4 to multiply the 2x, then you're going to use this 4 to multiply the positive 3. Then you're going to multiply denominator by denominator. Alright? So 4 times 2x gives us 8x. So 4 2s is 8, so that's just 8x. 4 times positive 3, that gives us positive 12. All over 4 times 3, that's just 12, plus the same idea here. We're going to take this 3 to multiply each term inside of the bracket, right? So we're going to take the 3 to multiply the x first. So 3 times x, that gives us 3x. 3 times minus 4, that gives us minus 12. All over 3 times 4, that is just 12. Here you note that my denominator are the same. So what that means, I keep the denominator and just simply add the numerators. So this is going to be, I'm going to keep my 12, right? Here, if you note, you have a x term here, you have an x term over there, and here you have a constant, you have a constant there. So all you need to do is to just combine the like term. So 8x plus 3x, that's going to give us 11x, positive 3, positive 12 minus 12, that's a 0. So final answer is just 11x over 12x. Let's look at part B. Now part B is 3p plus 2 all over 3 minus 3p minus 1 all divided by 4. Again, find a common denominator, which is just 3 times 4. 3 into 3 times 4, 4 is left. Take the 4 to multiply the numerator. So it's going to be 4 times 3p plus 2 minus 4 into 3 times 4. 4 will cancel 4. 3 is left. Take that 3 to multiply all the numerators. So it's going to be 3 times 3p minus 1. Now distribute and simplify. So we're going to take the 4 to multiply each term and take the minus 3 to multiply each term inside of a bracket. So 4 times 3p, that's going to be 12p. 4 times positive 2, that's going to be positive 8. Minus 3 times 3p, that's going to be minus 9p. Minus 3 times minus 1, that's going to be plus 3. All of that over 3 times 4, which is 12. Now we can combine the like term. We have a 12p and a minus 9p. So 12p minus 9p, that gives us 3p. We have a plus 8 and a plus 3. So plus 8 plus 3, that's plus 11. All of that over 12. And that is our final answer there.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.